The last two were limited.
McCaffrey was limited with a hamstring. Irving was full with a neck.
Who was the other limited other than C.J. Christian?
Henderson and Christian and Charlton. Take them back. So we'll open it up for questions. Mask on, please. All right, questions for Coach?
Coach, a limited designation on Christian today. Hope for Sunday? I
I don't think he'll probably come right until Sunday. I think it'll be like a game time decision. He's still limited, so I couldn't go one way or the other right now.
How did Joey's issue popped up?
They walked up and told me just tweak something in his back, so we'll have to wait and see how that goes.
Practice or?
Walking to practice or in practice, I'm honestly not sure. I mean, I probably during practice, but I couldn't even tell you how he did it.
Based on what you saw today, Matt, are you still kind of optimistic about Christian?
I honestly probably 50-50 on Christian. I think it's going to come down to how he feels. So I'll just have to wait and see how he responds to today and go from there. But I couldn't go either way right now.
How was Chauvin since he got that injury back earlier in the year? Do you feel like he could be someone that could be worked in here over the next few weeks or so?
Shai Smith, you say?
Yeah,
Shai's practicing well. Just for us trying to get a sixth wideout up. Obviously Alex handles the punt returns and kick returns, and Zylstra does a nice job for us on special teams and at wideout. So when Shai's time comes, he'll be ready to play. It could be this week. Shai's healthy. Yeah.
Go back to your.
I'm hopeful that we will.
Plan to go back to your rotational offensive line. Just had a few weeks to do with Evelyn back and also left tackle Irving back too.
As long as they come out of today's practice feeling good. We had a lot of guys come out of the game banged up, so we practiced a lot of guys today. So if Elfline's healthy and practicing well, then then we'll go with either him or Daly. And if Irving's if his neck responds to the from the injury, then he'll play as well.
Matt, just to be clear on Christian, do you have any type of setback or just the same? Or?
No, I just think at the end of the day, it's one of those deals. I think he probably still feels a little bit, and so we're just trying to see if he feels like he can cut loose or not. So just plan was come out today. He's limited today, and really see what he can do tomorrow. And if he can go, great. If not, I think Chuba's doing a nice job right now.
I know it's a different injury than what he had last year, but is there some trepidation based off the way you handled him last year that may cause some more caution with him this year?
Based on the way I handled him last year in terms of
Him coming back, maybe you brought him back too early, or is there any?
I don't think we brought him back too early. I mean, we didn't bring him back at the end of the year, so I think Christian. We've taken everything like every player. I mean, we're never going to rush anyone back. When the doctors clear them and the player feels like they can play, we'll go with them. So even when they come back, some of these guys, the sports science guys, Kent Johnson, them they set limits on them of how many plays they can play for us. So I don't think one thing relates to another. Christian had a shoulder, then he had obviously then he had the foot, then he had a shoulder, then a quad. So it wasn't like it's any one thing, and now it's a hamstring. So I think he'll be. We'll just wait till he's ready. Whenever he's ready, we'll put him out there and go.
I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You said if Elfline has a good week of practice and Selby, it would be him and Daly. Is that what you said?
No.
Okay.
Him or Daly. Yeah. Elfline was the left guard till Daly took over for him. So we have both of those guys available. Whoever we think's the best fit, based on practice, we'll go with.
Matt, is your belief still that you guys are better off with Taylor on the right side, all things else being equal?
Yeah, we'll put Taylor on the right side. Yeah, I think just he's one of the premier right tackles. He certainly can play left tackle, but I think especially they have two great edge rushers. They have several great edge rushers, but Daniil Hunter and those guys. So we'll keep a strength to strength, and we did what we had to do to get through that game, and but we'll keep them on the right.
Matt, you said, I think Monday, that this would be a particularly important week of practice for you guys this year because of what happened the last 2 weeks. How have you kind of seen the team respond, at least today?
I thought today was our best practice we've had, probably since I've been here. I think the defense realized that they played a great football game for, I think we had 14 drives for 12 drives, and then the last 2 drives we didn't do what we wanted to do, and you know, when you have a defense that doesn't point fingers, that instead says we could have done more. You know, when I have a defensive coordinator who, you know, Phil Snow very simply says, if the other team has more points than us, we didn't play great defense. And that's a pretty simple way of looking at it. And so the defense came out with a lot of energy today. Offensive guys had an edge to them. So I thought it was a good practice. And hopefully, you know, sometimes when you practice at a high level, it takes a week or two for it to really kick in. And we've been practicing well, but this was the best. So, you know, I'm hopeful that we'll see some dividends, and hopefully we can do it again tomorrow.
Matt, you said on Monday, I think you had not talked to Robbie. Have you guys talked since? And kind of what's the mood of that there?
There's nothing to it to me to begin with. You know, like, you know, I told everybody what I thought. You know, I said you know, guys have emotion as long as they don't cross a line. You know, it's a game of emotion. You know, I think probably 30 years ago, 40 years ago, before there was cameras everywhere, you know, people got emotional on the sidelines during games. And just like I said, we all have to play better. You know, like instead of worrying about what we're doing, I want everyone to worry about how they're doing what they're doing. And you know, and so me and Robbie have a great relationship, just like everybody else. And not much to it that beyond me. I really didn't think about it again after we had the conversation. You know.
I was wondering how delicate the balance is from trying to get a guy that you want to get involved and not forcing him.
Yeah, I'm not going to force anything. I think I agree with that. To me, it's all about the team. You're never going to force anything. That being said, I think you want balance. You know, like all the balls can't go to one guy, or else the other team takes it away. So I want balance. And sometimes you have to you lose balance. We haven't really had great balance in that regard. You know, so just want to regain some balance on offense and make sure Trimble's involved and Marshall's involved and Robbie's involved. But I don't do that for anyone's feelings. And I don't think the players aren't. We don't have guys with egos. They want to help the team win. You know, that's all it is. And when you're losing and you feel like, hey, I'm not having a chance to help the team win, that rises up. So, you know, I just want to make sure I'm purely focused on the football of it. You know, because I know people's emotions are in the right place. And you know, I think you guys, over the last couple of weeks, if you went back and looked at my answers when you guys have asked me about it, I've been like, we do need to get the ball spread around more. You know, I don't want the ball just going to DJ because we become one-dimensional. I don't want the ball just going to Christian. We become one-dimensional. So, you know, maybe a little bit of that caught up to us this past week. And so we have to be much better. And we have a system. We just want to run the system. I want Sam to drop back and not just look for one guy because he has a good comfort with him. I want us to be a system. And so that's been my whole focus, is just making sure the football is as good as it can be.
Not having Rodney Smith anymore. If Christian can't go Sunday, is the plan just to carry just the two, or?
We'll either elevate somebody or, you know, be creative in another way.
Go ahead.
You said that today was one of the best practices since you've been here. Do you find it's easier to coach guys after a loss, or what's your philosophy on that?
I hope. I shouldn't. You know, I'm not perfect. I hope I coach the same. You know, I'm a really big believer in when you win, there's good things and bad things. When you lose, there's good things and bad things. But, you know, I think a couple weeks ago you asked me, you know, hey, everyone's giving you a lot of attention. And I'm like, oh, I wish they would stop. But, you know, like, I mean, or I think you said people were kind of saying, hey, we're not as good as our record says. And I was like, please bring it on. To me, you know, when you have an edge, you know, usually you're a lot better. And, you know, to not have played our best game this past Sunday, you know, you hope that you have an edge and that you come out to practice. In the same regard, you know, I was talking to Shaq today on the field, and, you know, he's not back yet, and this is in the walkthrough, and he was talking about, you know, last year and how hard we practiced even though we were losing, and I said to him, well, did it pay off for you? He's like, he's playing the best football of his career right now. So when guys also believe that practice helps them play well, I mean, there's nothing we can do right now. We can't talk. Like, we don't need a lot of meetings, a lot of, like, speeches. We just need to practice and prepare and then go play our best games. So I think those two things combined, you know, guys having a little bit of an edge because we've lost. And then I think also, you know, we know how good Minnesota is. You know, I mean, they're a team that beat us last year in an absolutely heartbreaking loss. And then you turn on the tape and you see Jefferson and Thielen and, you know, Dalvin Cook and, you know, Hunter and Griffin and Harrison Smith. I mean, there's some really great players over there and a great system, and Coach Zimmer does a great job. So I think our guys know what a battle this is going to be this week.
You guys get Elfline and Cam Irving back today. Those guys were two guys you signed on the first day of free agency. What did you see in them, you and Scott, at the time that maybe others around the league did not? Whatever you think of the metrics, they weren't real highly rated, PFF and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to PFF. I'm just not saying it's not right. We just, you know, I can't operate in that world. You know, I mean, you know, Cam's a former first-round draft pick with a ton of talent. It just He's had some injury history. Hasn't ever really, I think our philosophy sort of in free agency is a lot of times is to fill like big holes so that in the draft you don't have to force things. And we know you're going to need a lot of players, right? So just like at corner, we've taken, we have a bunch of guys. Well, CJ's limited today and JC's out. So I just think when we have a chance to go get players that we think have a chance to help us, Elfline's a guy that can play guard, but also can step in and play center. So to me, there's value there in that he can play, 3 positions: right guard, left guard, and center. So I think when you're looking at veteran offensive linemen, you're looking at guys who can swing and play both sides. And if they start for you, they start for you. And if they're backups for you, you have quality backups. And so that's really kind of the thought process. I think sometimes when we look at it from the outside, we're looking at everything really not in terms of roles, but in terms of, like for me, I can't have, 53 starters. It's just not, So it's, hey, what role can this guy fill? Can this guy be a starter? Can this guy be a backup? Can he be a 3-position backup? And so, and then you get here, and then we compete it out and see how well guys can play. So we've obviously made a decision in the last 2 years to draft heavily, defensively. I think if you look at the guys we drafted this year offensively, between Chuba and Tommy and Marshall, those guys are starting to come through. I think offensive linemen take a little longer, so we'll have to wait and see what Brady is. I think for his first game, I think Brady, availed himself well. There's a long way for him to go, but I think he's got a chance to be a really good player. Deontay's still kind of, as I've said before, kind of growing into being a little bit slimmer. But, with Cam, I think we saw a guy with traits, length, can play multiple positions. With Elfline, we saw a guy who's really tough and smart and athletic who could play 3 positions, and went and got those guys that we thought were, good contracts for us.
Well, I guess Delvin Cook was back in practice today. What problems does he present for you guys, and what else jumps out at you about the Vikings?
Well, Dalvin Cook's one of the best players in the National Football League. He's a dominant running back, and they have a great scheme. We played against him last year, and he got banged up in the game. It looked like it was going to be scary, and then he came back later and played. I mean, he's so tough. They're a wide zone team that's diversified a little bit and doing a little bit more. He can get downhill. He can get to the sideline. He catch the ball in the backfield, highly competitive. Justin Jefferson's an explosive big play threat. Kirk Cousins is playing really well. They've got a big, powerful offensive line. They drafted the left tackle in the first round who started his first game or played his first game this past week. And then they've got a really good defense. Coach Zimmer's always had, our guys, when they're talking about different defenses in the league, the guys that on my staff have been in the NFL for a long time, they'll be like, oh, that's a Zimmer defense. So, I mean, he has his defense named after him, so obviously they know how to play it well. So they're just a really well put together team. They've been in a bunch of close ball games. They didn't flinch this past week. They came back and won the game. It was really impressive.
Well, Keith play a lot of snaps on Sunday. How do you feel like he graded out, and just what does it mean to give another guy who's a rookie that kind of chance to shine on that level?
Keith Taylor? Yeah. I thought Keith played really well. I think Keith is very confident. He's got such length that he plays even faster than he is. He's a competitive kid, tough kid, and it's a pretty cool room right now. You walk in there, you got AJ Boye, you've got Rashawn Melvin, you got Stephon Gilmore, you got 3 veteran players. You have Dante, who's becoming a veteran, who's a really elite player right now, and then you've got a couple young guys, and so there's a lot of knowledge being thrown around and passed around, and I think Keith put him out there. I don't even think twice. I mean, I got a lot of confidence in him.
This is a long way from Panthers in Minnesota, but just as a head coach in this league and a thoughtful guy, I just wondered sort of what you thought about the John Gruden emails and that story sort of exploding over the last couple of days.
Bruce kind of asked me, said, hey, I really thought a lot about it, in terms of how I would say it. I'm not very good at speaking on other people. I just very cognizant always of kind of, because I don't know backstories and histories. I do know that, as a leader, I want to, and pride myself in trying to be thoughtful and inclusive, and anything I say I wouldn't want to be exclusive. And so, you hear me say sometimes that good people, good leaders, good players, and they leave a place better than they found. And I think the best thing that we can all do is love people and take them for what they are. And I think Teddy said it last year one time when he was speaking. He said, so often in life we spend so much time talking about what people aren't instead of looking at what they do well. And so, I know for me, I just want to make sure that I raise my kids and I set an example around here of not not being hateful, not being discriminatory, you know. So I can't speak on anyone else. I don't pretend to know what's in people's hearts. I don't pretend to know what people said or didn't say, but I know for me, in this job, I want to represent every person, you know, that roots for the Carolina Panthers, and I want to be, you know, inclusive, and I want to, at the end of the day, you know, it sounds funny to hear a football coach sometimes say it, but I believe in love and the spirit of community and all those different things, and so we spend so much time in our lives finding the things that differentiate us, and there's so many things that bring us all together. You know, we sit there. You know, we go out 2 weeks ago when we could just leave it closed. We go out there for the we went out there for the cancer. I forget what it's called. I'm sorry. For the crucial catch. Thank you. I'm sorry. You know, I always wear two pink ribbons. You know, and one for my mother when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, one for my wife's mother who lost her battle with breast cancer. And I always talk about that because we can sit in that room and you can find, you know, players, coaches, old, young, white, black, northern, southern, east, west, you know, all these different things that divide us. But when I say that one of the hardest days of my life was when my mom had cancer, there's a lot of other guys that feel the same thing. So that's a long way of saying, you know, I don't know what's in other people's hearts, and I know I'm not perfect, but as best I can, I want to make sure that that I'm inclusive and care a lot about people and find the things that, you know, bring us together instead of differentiate us. So that's the shame of all that that's happening right now, and but I know there's a lot of good people out there that are working to make our place, you know, our world better. So.
I just wanted to ask about the Vikings defense. You had mentioned already. Obviously, they've got some really good guys on the edge, and it seems like they've really sort of stepped up their play the past couple of weeks. Overall, what are your impressions of that defense, particularly that front seven?
Yeah, I think they're playing great. You know, obviously they got, you know, Barr back last week. You know, to me, when you have guys banged up and they come back, you know, obviously it makes a big difference. You know, we're gonna, you know, we love the guys that are playing for us, but every time we get a guy back who's been trained by us, we love it. And so, you know, I think that they defend the run at a high level. They don't give you anything. You know, they don't give you big plays. You know, they're sacking the quarterback, which has obviously been a bit of an Achilles heel for us right now in terms of protecting the quarterback. And they can rush the passer. They have multiple blitz looks. But it's really fun to watch them because they play the game, you know, the right way. They strike. They play with their hands. They get off blocks. They're really physical. You know, we had a tough time last year against them, and a lot of these players that are playing now weren't in that game. They were injured, so they've got a lot of guys back right now. They're playing with confidence. So, you know, we'll have to, you know, it's one of those games where there's no easy plays. You're gonna have to fight, scratch, and claw for everything that you get.
Would you say Shaq is out this week? I mean,
Yeah, Shaq will play this week. Yeah, I was hoping maybe there's an outside chance, but you know, we're hopeful that we'll have him back for New York. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, he practiced today, so we'll see. You know, we'll see how he comes out tomorrow.
practice, but how did you experience how the team responded coming off of Sunday?
Coming off of what? I'm sorry.
Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah. You know, I thought we had a good practice. It was intense. And it was good, you know, to be able to go against each other for a couple periods. You know, a good physical practice. You know, it's something that we needed, and you know, I thought we came out strong.
What can you capture? I mean, I know that going physical now versus when in the offseason maybe a little bit different speed, but what can you get out of doing that in season as opposed to, say, in August and July?
Yeah, I think it's always good to kind of, you know, just fly around full speed. You know, as you're, you know, sometimes on Wednesdays when you're putting together a game plan, you know, you try to get everything perfect, and you try to get the scout looks, you know, as good as they can be. Whereas sometimes when it's one-on-ones and or ones versus ones, I guess I should say, you kind of get that full speed, you know, those full speed reps. You know, and I guess that's good, you know, on a Wednesday, especially, you know, coming off of, you know, a tough loss like we had on Sunday.
I know there are limits to how many of those you guys can do a season. How frequently or infrequently did you guys do of those in New York?
I mean, I don't know exactly how many. I mean, we did them a couple times, but I couldn't give you an exact number. But
is it good, as you said? I mean, it kind of, do people kind of, does it get everyone's attention when you see the itinerary for the day, and or you get word that it's going to be a little more physical?
Yeah. You know, I think word goes around pretty fast around the locker room that way. So, you know, we all knew what to expect, and we had a good day out there.
Matt, the Vikings come in, they're second in the league in sacks, and obviously, you know, been hit pretty good the last few weeks. Talk about what are the concerns there, keeping you upright, backfield, making plays?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to execution. I think that's the biggest thing is, you know, all 11 guys doing their job, and everything else will kind of fall into place.
Was there any more conversation with Robbie about kind of his outburst, the way that was handled on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, we handled that. You know, that's been handled.
When you look at that, what do you think is happening? Everybody talks about the chemistry you guys had in New York, and it doesn't seem to have transferred here to Carolina. What's not working?
Yeah, I mean, me and Robbie are both, you know, we understand, you know, sometimes what happens or, you know, why certain balls don't go to him. So, you know, I think it's just us two being patient, and we understand that, you know, things will kind of fall into place as the season goes on.
Sam, was that kind of chemistry angle a little overdone, overplayed when you got here?
I mean, it's like every story, right? Kind of gets overplayed. So, no, I think it's good. I mean, that was the fact of the matter was me and Robbie were, you know, he was one of the only guys, you know, that I knew or that I had played with at the skill position on this team. So, you know, I don't think it was overplayed at all, but, you know, obviously we have a really good skill group. And, you know, for me, I'm just going to continue to go out there, do my job, go through my reads, and, you know, whoever gets the ball, gets the ball.
Facing as much pressure as you did Sunday, I mean, how does a quarterback still overcome that and not fall into bad habits and be able to still push the ball down the field?
Yeah, I think for me, I got to stay aggressive, but at the same time, understand that, you know, if it's not there, you know, get the ball down to the back or, you know, tight ends, whoever's down there. So you want to still have that, I guess, like sniper mentality to be able to take a shot if it's there. But again, if it's not, you know, just live to see another down and, you know, stay patient that way.
Have the changes with, you know, Christian being out, Dan being traded in those kind of safety valve positions, has that affected maybe a little bit of that, not having those guys there?
No, I mean, you know, we got a bunch of guys who have been able to step in, and they've done a great job. You know, Chuba, Ian, Tommy, Royce, you know, those guys have done a great job of being able to, you know, go in those roles and do a great job.
I know Christian hasn't been there, but what do you think has been the biggest difference between those first 3 wins and the last 2 losses?
Yeah, I think it's just execution. I think it's as simple as that. I know it's cliche, but you know, it's just finding that rhythm and, you know, getting those first downs and having good plays on first and second down. So you're in third and short, and then you kind of stay on track that way. I think we've found ourselves in too many 3rd and longs. Obviously around the league, the percentages on 3rd and long aren't great compared to 3rd and short and 3rd and medium. So got to stay out of that down and distance, and that starts with having a good plan for plan of attack on 1st and 2nd down.
So that being said, like, why might a team not execute as well as they were in the first 3 games versus last week?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to execution.
Why might that be the case? Why might you all not be executing to the level that execute?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of different factors that go into it. All 11 guys got to be, doing their job every single play. And, one guy messes up, I make a wrong read, on 1st, 2nd, or 3rd down. It can kind of screw up the drive a little bit. So, I mean, that's the beauty of football. It's all 11 guys got to be on the same page every single play. And if you're not, you can struggle.
Sam, you mentioned Chuba a second ago. What is he better at now than 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think, Chuba, just like any rookie with experience, you continue to get better every single game. And Chuba's been, continuing to get better, and we just look forward to him, continuing in that process.
And when you look at the Vikings defense, you're just talking about that front seven, but in particular, Hunter and Emerson on the ends, what do you see out of those guys and then that front seven in general?
Yeah, I mean, they got 2 great, not only defensive ends, but the other 2 tackles. They do a great job of pushing the pocket, making the quarterback uncomfortable. And then they obviously have a great blitz package that we got to be prepared for. And then, yeah, I mean, they got really good players on defense, and we're excited for the challenge.
How much?
What did it mean to get both Irving and Elfline back? You guys kind of had to rejig your whole line last week. What does that mean for you and for the offense?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I think Dennis and Brady did a really good job coming in there and, doing what they could to put their stamp on games. And then, yeah, having Pat and Cam back, it's awesome. To be able to have those guys back, it's been great.
You shouldered a lot of the blame when it comes to the pressure, whether it was holding on to the ball, et cetera. How much of that work needs to be, I guess, corrected, whether it's pre-snap, whether it's holding on to the ball? How much of it's pre-snap, how much of it is kind of in the moment in terms of checking out things?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of both. I think, yeah, it's definitely a combination. Being able to, understand what the coverage is pre-snap, understand what kind of pressures they're bringing, and just getting the ball out of my hands, going through my reads as I should.
Sam, you played 3 games with Christian, 2 games without him. Like, what do you, when you look at the tape, what do you notice that you miss the most about when he's not in the lineup? I know Chuba played well, but just in talking about Christian.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every week I, kind of say it, but he's a great player. It's there's just something about him that, when he has the ball in his hands, he's able to do things that a lot of people aren't able to do.
Matt said that you guys are seeing a lot of bear with cover 1 behind it. Is that look in particular a little tougher to go against without Christian?
I mean, Christian, if they want to play man, whether they put, a safety on him or a linebacker on him, it's tough to get the right person guarding Christian. So, usually it's a mismatch. So yeah, with that, in that regard, yeah, it's whenever you have 22 out there, it makes life a little bit easier. Obviously, Chuba and Royce do a great job, but we all know, Christian's a great player. But obviously we got other guys too that are able to make plays when, they want to bring 5 and play man coverage on the back end. So we just got to go out there and make plays.
We've got time for a couple more.
Sam, Coach mentioned that today's practice, get back to that, there was a lot of focus on the defense and the offense had an edge. You actually said that a couple of times. What does edge mean, if you can explain that to us? Is it guys genuinely ticked off that you've lost a couple of games? Is it just sharper focus in practice? What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, I think it's all those things that you just said. Being a little ticked off. I mean, coming off. I mean, you want to be able to put the pass behind, but as a competitor, you understand coming into a Wednesday practice. We lost last Sunday, and that should tick all of us off a little bit. And So with that being said, it's, we got a lot of great competitors in that locker room, and they came out to practice ready to go today. And so we're just going to continue to have that mindset throughout the week, and we'll be ready to go on Sunday.
Does that essentially put a chip on your shoulders going into this whole week of practice and then leading into the Sunday?
We prepare every single week with not necessarily a chip on our shoulder, but with a sense of urgency to get better and to execute at a high level when it comes to Sunday. So that's kind of our mindset.
All right, thanks, Sam.
Thanks, guys.
You know, they are sound defense, play as a unit, and have a lot of experience all around.
Robbie, a lot's been made about your getting upset on the sideline. Can you talk about what spurred that on and where things are now?
I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I mean, you can consider it getting upset. I mean, for my defense, it's passion, you know what I'm saying? Like, I approach this game and every day, like, you know, giving my all and everything. It's my biggest priority, you know, besides my relationship with God, my family. So, you know, it's passion, you know what I'm saying? People could take it how they want. Everybody's entitled to their opinions, but it's just more so a situation with me, you know, being a veteran player and kind of knowing, like, what I can do to help the team is from a team aspect of me wanting to make plays for the team and help the team. So it was just more so me feeling as if being on the field and being out there knowing something I felt I could have did to make a difference in the game and that I was kind of communicating and was just a little passionate about the situation and somewhat frustrated too because, you know, I felt like if I would have kind of like had the opportunity to do something, it could have made a difference in us winning the game. And, you know, that's my biggest concern, like, it's winning.
Why has that chemistry you guys had in York just not transferred here so far?
I mean, I think that's just more so just the flow of what's going on, you know, offensively. But, you know, it's still early in the year. I'm pretty sure that it'll come about, but.
Do you kind of feel like teams are guarding you differently, approaching you differently, game planning against you differently?
Nah, I don't think it's anything along those lines.
Matt told us that the way he understood it, you were thinking they were sitting on routes, some double moves might come in handy. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of how you feel you guys have been defended the last couple of weeks, and that you could help stretch the field the way kind of what with your skill set?
Well, I mean, on that particular play and that defender, I mean, throughout the game, he was sitting on multiple routes, so that's why I was trying to communicate to them, you know, let's scheme off that, and I felt we could capitalize. So, you know, that was my mindset. You know, I have a very high football IQ. You know, I was brought up under veteran legends, Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker, and I study the game, and I also study myself. So I know my capabilities. I understand coverages. I understand football. So it was just something along those lines.
What do you have to do to get the ball more?
I think just keep doing what I'm doing, you know, just keep working, keep winning on my routes, and when the ball does come, you know, try and make the most of every opportunity.
Frustrated not seeing the ball as much this year as you did last year?
I mean, if we win, it's cool. If we lose, of course, I'll be frustrated because I want to contribute and feel like if I do get the ball more, I feel like I know my goal is to help us win. So if I don't touch the ball and we win, it's fair game. You know, my ultimate goal is to win, and I'm a team player. But losing, I'm a sore loser. You know, I don't want to lose. I don't work hard. Everybody in this building don't work hard. We don't touch the field to lose. So if we lose and I don't feel like I contributed as much, I'll be a little frustrated. But that's just the type of player I am.
Robbie, just not to belabor this, but just to make sure we're clear on it, because the clip, it looked like you were having that passionate moment with your wide receivers coach. Was that who you were talking to there, or was it other
No, I was
people?
I was talking to him, because that's who that's my coach. That's who we speak to, you know, Joe's in the box, so that's how we pass along communication.
Had you done that earlier in the game? I mean, I know that was the last play the offense had the ball, but had you asked for the double move earlier?
Yeah, because, I mean, I saw how they were playing things, and I was like, you know, I feel like we do this, they playing this a certain way, we do this, we got a shot.
Is that something that y'all talk about at halftime, those type of adjustments?
Yeah.
Making those type of adjustments?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you mentioned you don't think it's about teams guarding you differently. What do you think it is?
I mean, I don't honestly. I mean, it's not about me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to make this about like what teams are doing with me. You know what I'm saying? We lost the past 2 games. That's the focus. It's not solely on what's going on just with me. You know, collectively we lost the past 2 games.
Did they give you an explanation as to
Nah. I just keep my head down and keep working on what I can and control what I can, and just, like I said, just keep running routes, getting open, and when the ball do come, try and make the most of my opportunities.
Rhule said that this was one of the best practices that you guys have had since he's been here. He said that there was an edge on offense. How would you describe practice today?
I think we came out, with a little animosity. I think everybody's, a little frustrated because we done lost the past 2 games.
And that should translate. I mean, do you think that practice with edge and animosity translates on Sunday, or you just gotta wait and see?
I mean, that's the goal. The goal is to practice good, play better.
The depth of your routes have changed significantly this year from last year. Is that part of why you feel like you're maybe not being involved as much, or how do you explain that?
I mean, that's not really, I can't really answer that, because I'm not really too much in control of that. I listen, I hear the play call and gotta go do what I'm, what's told of me to do.
How much are you used differently than
Huh?
How much are you being used differently than a year ago?
I think my role has shifted a little bit, in a sense.
How would you describe your role now?
I mean, like you said, different type of routes and things like that. But I don't think, compared to this time last year and what I was doing, I mean, it's a significant change.
Rob, you just mentioned your passion for the game and also the depth that you felt in the loss from this past Sunday. What, if anything, about your approach changed going into this week?
No, I mean, my approach is always the same. If we win, if we lose, and like I always approach the game the same way. I learned that as a rookie from Matt Forte, a veteran. Like, you approach the game the same way, no matter, you don't get too high, you don't get too low. You stay grounded. So I don't change. Like, my routine, I'm gonna do the same exact thing I did if we won the game or if we lost. I'm not gonna switch up. I stick to my principles and what I know.
Did you notice a difference in practice? Coach Rhule mentioned it, but did you feel any differently?
I mean, I don't too much. I mean, I think that's more of like a coach's perspective. I don't too much, observe like everybody too much. I kind of like, since it's practice, I'm kind of locked into what I got going on. So, I kind of see those type of things when I watch film. But when I'm out there, I'm focused on what I can work on and what I can control, and, more so like the receivers a little bit. But yes.
How much of what you can control has been on point, so to speak? Have there been things that you can control that have maybe not been up to speed, that are up to your standard, at least in the past?
I mean, we lost the past 2 games, so that's not really up to my standard,
Do you think your concerns, I mean, when you talk about the double move and things like that, do you think they were heard this week and maybe they'll be adjusted going forward?
I mean, it was more so, it depends, like, that was more so of how that particular defender was playing, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think that's like, okay, well, he said we should have did. That's more of like that in the moment against that team,
That, the 3rd and 3, not that play, but the previous one where you had to dive for that ball, did that feel to you like one that you should have had?
I mean, personally, I mean, I feel like any catch, any ball come my way, I hope to make it, but I mean, I feel like I did all I could to try and pull that catch in.
I was going to ask this, having such a passionate moment captured on camera and discussed, do you feel like that also sparked an edge amongst your teammates, seeing the depth of your frustration?
I mean, I will hope so, but I don't really see nothing wrong with that. Like Tom Brady does that. He's one of the greatest, players get mad, coaches yell at players. So I don't really to me, I don't see it's nothing I'm ashamed of, you know what I'm saying? It's not nothing like I'll look back in 5 years and feel like that affected my legacy. I think that that's a good thing, so the world can see I actually care, because, a lot of times people get extensions and get money and they just step back and collect their check. That's not the case with me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here to be great, and my mindset is still I got a lot to prove and I want to win, so I just feel like I would hope that that's how my teammates view it. I'm pretty sure they do because they understand me as a player. You know what I'm saying?
About this a little different. Have you gone against Gilmore?
Yeah, at the Jets, yeah.
Kind of what's it like going against him versus a lot of other corners the way you go against him?
I mean, when I was there, it was a challenge because when I used to go against him a lot too, I had him and safety over top. But me and him, like, pretty much since, like, my 3rd year, I think that's when he first got there, my 3rd year, maybe my 2nd year. But he used to follow me, so we used to have a lot of matchups. But he's definitely one of the best in the game. All right.
Thanks, Robbie. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Derek, Coach said something today about this being the best practice he had seen since he had been here. What does that look like from your perspective? What was it like out there today?
Attention to detail. Guys holding each other accountable more than ever right now. Whether it's Daquan, an 8-9 year vet, or me in my 2nd year, or Davion Nixon in his rookie year. I mean, we all got something to say to each other, and that's what from a D-line perspective, that's how it was for us today.
You guys saw the Vikings last year, obviously. What are your impressions of Kirk Cousins and then Cook and just that offense in general?
I mean, they had a very good scheme when they came to play us. Kirk Cousins is a damn good quarterback, so you got the challenge set for you every single week. So we got to be able to game plan and execute the game plan, because at the end of the day, I mean, it falls on us to get that done.
Derek, you guys gave up a touchdown on a short field to put Philly ahead. Even though the defense played well in the game, I think Matt's kind of still harping on that. What does that mean to you guys as a defense, that basically you have the responsibility of kind of carrying this team?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Rhule puts that on us, and that's something we've been putting on ourselves since training camp. No matter what happens on offense, all we can do is control what we do, and we always talk about complementary football. I mean, when bad things happen to us on defense, our offense goes out and executes. We got to be able to do the same.
Derek, is there something in particular that you guys learned from last year's loss in Minnesota?
Finish. We got to finish the game and put it away when it needs to be put away.
When you look at Derek, when you look at Minnesota, they kind of mirror what you guys were last year, being in so many close games, been on the wrong side of 3 of them this year. And they got over the hump this past week. How do you, is there a mental side of it to try to get them back to where they're, in a situation where they're doubting themselves again on Sunday, when, you guys try to put them away and keep them at bay and that sort of thing?
I mean, I don't necessarily know if anybody in the NFL doubts himself. I mean, the guys at the caliber we play against, I mean, they're all professionals. So I mean, you got to be able to go out and execute, do the game plan, and be able to, you got to be able to impose your will on people. I mean, when it comes time to, they're gonna come out, they're gonna do the same thing to us. So I mean, it's about who plays best.
You guys on the line really did a good job the first 3 weeks getting home and getting sacks. It's kind of slipped over the last couple of weeks. What do you guys have to do to make sure that you can get home against this Vikings team?
Realize what's going on during the game. A lot of people are playing us a lot different right now. So, it's just about, the recognition of what's going on and us getting home, winning the one-on-ones.
How is it different?
I mean, they got a lot of respect for Haas and, Burns in the end, and, full protection. It's just a bunch of different things, every single week, whether that be, flipping the protections and, it's just a bunch of different things going on the field.
Does that potentially create more one-on-ones for you guys inside?
It does in some. It's basically all the same thing, but it's like 20 different ways to present it, and that's the thing. You got to be able to recognize going into the week.
He's been the biggest difference between the first 3 wins, what you all were doing well in the first 3 wins, versus what maybe hasn't gone so well last 2 months.
I'm not gonna lie, we're not gonna change our process. It's just we gotta be more focused on detail. Putting them out. When we were in Dallas, defensively, we gotta be able to do our job. I mean, this is what it comes down to. We are professionals, and at the end of the day, we gotta get the job done.
You mentioned that Vikings game last year. Any kind of memories that sort of stick in your craw, like specific memories from that game? I know that was a tough one.
We lost it. That's all I think about. We lost it last year, so.
When you look at film of those guys, how different is it when they go from Cook to Madison?
Both of them are really good backs. And, I think people aren't really aware of that, but I mean, Madison's a downhill runner, and he's just as agile and aggressive as Cook. So.
Is that type of power run game? If Dallas ran something like that, I know I'm oversimplifying, but is that something that's given you guys kind of trouble the last couple of years under Phil?
Not really. To be honest, I mean, you're going against a very good offensive line, and you're going against a very good running back who makes plays that happens with his feet and his agility. So I mean, at the end of the day, you got to be able to man up and do what you got to do adversity.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Derek.
Appreciate it.